Hello everyone, we're Group 1. Today we are going to present our innovative thinking module, lateral thinking. Here are our group members: 刘子涵、宋旭豪、江嘉宁、耿鼎祥、田浩然、孙思航 and 胡成乐. Our presentation will include 7 parts: introduction, principles and characteristics of lateral thinking, lateral thinking techniques, process of using lateral thinking, application of lateral thinking in various fields, challenges and obstacles in implementing lateral thinking, and conclusion. First, let me start with a brief introduction. Lateral thinking is a problem-solving approach that is nonlinear, meaning that it does not follow the usual step-by-step logical process. Instead, it focuses on creativity and exploring new perspectives to find solutions. This concept was introduced by Edward Bono, who believed that traditional thinking methods are often too limited. He suggested that people tend to think in fixed patterns, which can prevent them from seeing better or more creative solutions. So, what exactly is lateral thinking? Lateral thinking is a way of thinking that encourages us to look at problems from different and unexpected angles. Instead of following a straight path, we try to break away from conventional ideas and explore new possibilities. For example, imagine you are trying to improve a product. A linear thinker might focus on improving the existing design step by step, but a lateral thinker might ask a completely different question, such as, do we even need this product in its current form, or can we solve the problem in a totally different way? This shift in perspective often leads to more innovative solutions. Another important idea in lateral thinking is that there is not always only one correct answer. Instead, there can be multiple possible solutions, and some of them may be more creative or effective than the obvious one. Because of this, lateral thinking is especially useful in situations where problems are complex, unclear, or require innovation. Now let's move on to the importance of lateral thinking. First, lateral thinking helps us generate new and creative ideas. In today's fast-changing world, creativity is very important, especially in areas like business, technology, and education. Companies often look for people who can think differently and come up with innovative solutions. Second, lateral thinking encourages flexibility in thinking. Instead of being stuck with one method, we become more open to trying different approaches. This makes it easier to adapt when situations change or when we face unexpected challenges. Third, it helps us overcome mental blocks. Sometimes we cannot solve a problem not because it's too difficult, but because we are thinking about it in the wrong way. Lateral thinking helps us break out of these fixed patterns. Now let's compare lateral thinking with linear thinking. Linear thinking, also known as vertical thinking, is based on logic, analysis, and step-by-step reasoning. It's very useful when we need accuracy and clear solutions, such as in mathematics or technical tasks. However, linear thinking can sometimes be too narrow because it focuses only on one path. In contrast, lateral thinking is creative, non-sequential, and open-ended. It allows us to explore multiple directions and consider unusual ideas. For example, if a company has low sales, a linear thinker might analyze pricing, marketing, or costs step by step. A lateral thinker might ask, can we change the entire business model or can we target a completely new market? So the key difference is linear thinking focuses on depth and accuracy. Lateral thinking focuses on breadth and creativity. In real life problem solving, both are important. We usually need lateral thinking to generate ideas and then linear thinking to evaluate and implement them.
Okay, now I will present the principles and the characteristics of lateral thinking. First of all, lateral thinking encourages us to use different perspectives. Instead of looking at a problem in only one way, we try to view it from multiple angles. In real life, many problems seem difficult because we are used to thinking in a fixed way. However, when we change our perspective, we may discover completely new solutions. For example, in business, companies often improve their products by seeing them from the customer's point of view rather than the producer's point of view. This shift in perspective can lead to better ideas and innovations. Secondly, lateral thinking involves breaking conventional thinking patterns. This means we should not always rely on traditional or logical step-by-step thinking. While logical thinking is important, it can sometimes limit creativity. Lateral thinking encourages us to step outside these patterns and explore unusual or unexpected ideas. For instance, instead of asking how to improve a product, we can ask, what if the product didn't exist at all? This kind of thinking can lead to completely new concepts rather than small improvements. The first characteristic is creating connections between unrelated ideas. This is one of the most powerful aspects of lateral thinking. Sometimes innovation happens when we combine two completely different fields. For example, combining technology and transportation has led to services like ride-sharing apps. Another example is combining education with gaming, which creates interactive learning platforms. These ideas come from linking concepts that are not usually connected. Secondly, lateral thinking requires us to be open to new ideas. This means we should not reject ideas just because they seem strange, unrealistic, and different. In many situations, creative ideas are often ignored at the beginning because they do not fit traditional thinking. However, some of the most successful innovations started as unusual ideas. For example, online shopping was once considered risky, but today it has become a normal part of our daily life. In conclusion, the principles of lateral thinking include using different perspectives, breaking conventional thinking patterns, connecting unrelated ideas, and being open to new ideas. By applying these principles, we can think more creatively, solve problems more effectively, and develop innovation solutions in different areas of life. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jiang Jiang. My student number is 8206087. Today I will talk about lateral thinking techniques. Lateral thinking is a way to solve problems using new and creative ideas. It's different from normal thinking because we don't only follow logical or usual steps. Instead, we try to look at problem from different cells and find new answers. This kind of thinking is very useful in schoolwork and daily life. This helps us become more creative, more open-minded, and better at solving problems. Now I will explain the first three techniques. The first one is provocation. Provocation means using stringent or unusual idea to challenge normal thinking. These ideas are not always correct or real, but they help us thinking in a new way. This like breaking or our normal thinking habits. When we hear a surprising idea, we forces our brain to think differently. This can help us create new solutions what we didn't thinking before. For example, what if human didn't need to sleep? This idea is not real, but it can make us think about new lifestyle, work system, or health idea. The next one is challenge. Challenge means question rules, habits, or normal ways of doing something. Many times we accept systems without asking why they are like that. By asking simple questions, we can understand problems better and maybe improve them. This helps us not just accept things but think deeply. For example, why must store have a payment um, connect? If we think about this, maybe we can use self-checkout machines, mobile payments, or even automatic payment system. These techniques helps us find better and easier ways to do something. Okay, the third one is alternative conceptor. This means finding different ways to achieve the same goal. Instead of using only one method, we try to explore more options. This helps us thinking more flexibly and not depend on only one idea. Different people may also find different solutions to same problem. For example, besides books, we what are other ways to deliver knowledge? We can use videos, online courses, games, group distraction, or over real life practice. This makes learning more interesting and more effectively for different students. Okay, the first one is random input. Random input means using random words or ideas to create new thinking. Even if the idea is not relative, it can help our brain make new connections. This method is useful when we have no ideas or feel stuck. For example, the word forest can be used to spare city design. We may think about green buildings, national parks, or eco-friendly cities. The last one is uh, reversal thinking. Reversal thinking means looking at a problem from the opposite direction. Instead of asking what should we do, we ask what if we do opposite. This helps we see problem from a completely different angle. For example, customer pay after using a product instead of before. This idea may change how business design service or customer experience. In conclusion, lateral thinking helps us develop creative thinking skills. It allows us to see problems in new ways and find better solutions. It's very useful in education, business, and everyday life. Thank you.
Today, I will be discussing the process of using lateral thinking, which is the fourth part of our proposition. If you look at the screen, you can see the title clearly. So far, our group has expanded the meaning of lateral thinking and some useful monsters we can use. We have learned that lateral thinking helps us thinking uh, different, differently and come up with creative solutions to programs. Now, it's time to up that technology into real practice. The work process of using lateral thinking can be divided into four key steps. Those steps are simple but very useful. They give us a clear structure to solve problems in a creative way. Instead of thinking in the old or usual way, let me briefly outline those four steps for you. First, we need to find and understand the program clearly. We must know actually what we are trying to solve. Second, we use lateral thinking to get new and creative ideas. Third, we check and improve the best ideas from our list. And finally, we try the solution in real life and make it better in it. Those steps we work together to help us creative thoughts into real solutions. On the next slide, we will expand each step simply and clearly so you can easily understand how this process works in real solutions. Chapter 1. Find and understand the program clearly. This is the most important part. Before thinking of ideas, we must know the program well. A clear program helps us solve the real issue, not just a small program. Chapter 2. Use lateral thinking to get new ideas. Here we can creative thinking. We use simple ways like ask strange questions, use random words, or thinking in opposite ways to get many new ideas. Chapter 3. Choose and improve the best ideas. Not all ideas are useful. We need to check which ideas are easy to use and can really solve the problem. Then we make those good ideas better and clearer. Step 4. Try to solution and make changes. Finally, we use our solution in real life. From the results and feedback, we change and improve it until it work well. This clear must helps us turn creative into real and useful solutions.
I will discuss the application of lateral thinking in various fields. First, let's talk about business and product innovation. In the business world, most companies follow established routines and industry norms. However, lateral thinking encourages leaders to ask provocative questions. For example, using the provocation technique, what if a hotel had no front desk? At first, this sounds impossible, but this question led to the invention of automated self-service check-in kiosks. Today, many hotels use this system to reduce the labor costs and improve customer waiting time. Another example is this reversal technique. Instead of asking, how can we sell more products? A lateral thinker may ask, what if customers pay after they use the product, not before? This kind of thinking has inspired subscription models and pay-per-use services like Netflix and Spotify. So, in business, lateral thinking helps companies break free from competition by creating entirely new ways of delivering value. Second, lateral thinking is widely used in education. Traditional education often follows a linear path. Teacher explains, students memories, then take exam. This method is logical but limited creativity. Lateral thinking offers alternative approaches. For instance, teachers can use a random input technique. Imagine a science teacher gives students the word ocean. Students then have to connect this random word to a physical concept like pressure. This forces a brain to make new connections and encourages creative problem solving. Another technique is a challenge-based method. Teachers can ask, why must the exam be written on paper? This opens up discussions about presentations, projects, or even game-based assignments. Lateral thinking in education does not replace knowledge. It helps students learn how to think, not just what to think. Third, let's look at engineering and technology. Engineers are trained to follow logical steps and safety standards, but many of the greatest technological breakthroughs came from lateral thinking, not linear logic. A classic example is reverse thinking. Instead of asking, how can we build better roads to reduce traffic? An engineer used lateral thinking made ask, what if the vehicle moves but the road is static? This question seems strange at first. However, it led to the concept of hyperloop, a system where pulses travel through low pressure tubes at very high speed. This solution was not to improve the road, but to rethink the entire relationship between vehicle and infrastructure. Fourth and finally, lateral thinking is essential in advertising and marketing. Traditional marketing often interrupts the audience. For example, TV commercial or pop-up ads. But lateral thinking challenges this model. Using the challenge technique, marketers may ask, why must I interrupt the content? This question led to rise native advertising and content marketing, where ads are designed to look and feel like the content around them. This approach feels less intrusive, and more engaging. Another technique is reverse thinking. Instead of asking, how can we convince customer to buy our products? A lateral thinker may ask, what if customer tried two products for free first? This led to free trials, simple campaigns, and a freemium business model. These strategies build trust and long-term customer relationships. So in marketing, lateral thinking helps brands connect with people in more natural and meaningful ways.
Let me introduce about the challenges and obstacles in implementing lateral thinking. This slide is about the mindset and idea-related challenges in lateral thinking. Firstly, it's difficult to change conventional mindsets. Most individuals are used to linear thinking, where problems are solved step by step in logical and structured ways. This type of thinking is often taught in schools and widely used in daily life. While it is useful, it can also limit creativity because people become too comfortable with familiar methods. They may focus on only on the finding the correct answers instead of exploring different possibilities. As a result, it becomes harder to think outside the box and approach a problem from a new perspective. Secondly, is a lack of willingness to express new ideas. Lateral thinking often produce ideas that are unusual, unexpected, or even strange at first. Because these ideas do not follow the traditional patterns, people may assume that they are unrealistic or impractical. In many cases, such ideas are rejected too quickly without proposed evaluation. However, some of most innovative solution actually started as conventional ideas. If people are not open-minded, they may miss valuable opportunity for creativity and innovation. In addition, field of criticism is another important barrier. Many individuals are fear that their ideas are being judged or rejected by others. This is especially common in group discussion or formal settings. Because of this fear, people may choose to stay silent rather than share their creative thoughts. Over the time, this reduces participations and limits the diversity of ideas within a team. Without a safe and supportive environment, it's difficult for lateral thinking to develop efficiently. Last slide, we talk about the difficulty in changing conventional methods and lack of willingness to accept new ideas. For this slide, we will talk about the need for times and training. This slide we highlight the potential and organizational challenge in applying lateral thinking. Firstly, lateral thinking requires times and training. It's not a skill that everyone naturally has, and it cannot be developed overnight. Individuals need continuous practice to improve their ability to think creatively. They also need to learn specific techniques such as looking at problem from different perspectives, making unexpected connection, or challenging existing assumption. Without proper trainings or exposure to these measures, people may find it difficult to apply lateral thinking efficiently in real life situation. Secondly, time constraints are a major issue for the lateral thinking in many environments, especially in business and academic settings. Individuals are expected to produce quick results. Due to this pressure, they often relied on familiar and proven methods instead of experimenting with new ideas. Creative thinking requires time to explore, test, and refine ideas, but this process is often skipped because of the tight guidelines. As a result, innovation may be limited. Finally, the organizational barriers also play a significant role in the lateral thinking. In some organizations, strict rules, rigid structure, and hierarchical system can discourage creativity. Employees might feel that the ideas are not welcomed or valued, especially if those ideas challenge existing practice. Without supportive environments that encourage open communications and risk-taking, individuals are less likely to think creatively or share innovative ideas.
To wrap up our presentation, let's quickly review the core message of the lateral thinking. As my teammate discussed, it represents a true paradigm shift. It is about stepping away from logic and giving ourselves the freedom to look at problems from completely new angles. We have learned that this isn't just about waiting for experience to strike. We have a specific toolbox for individuals, using techniques like provision, random input, and several thinking to creative new ideas. More importantly, as we saw in the process sections, lateral thinking is highly actionable. It requires us to to test these creative ideas in the real world. Of course, doing this is not always easy. To truly innovate, we must stop feeling comment. We also need to stop rejecting unused ideas too quickly. Like any skills, lateral thinking needs training. It takes time, in fact, and a good environment that supports creativity. Our final message for you today is this: if we combine creative lateral thinking with careful evaluation, we can solve complex problems much better. This will help us a lot in our university projects and our future jobs. Thank you all for listening.
That's all for our presentation. Thank you for your listening and watching.